Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones. I'm looking for people that have the wisdom to spot savings, opportunity, and recognize risk. Saving means to make money. The Cow Ben Pure Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated and twice as good as what you're using now. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils that contain no useless dyes, perfumes, deodorants, or antibacterials. Your risk is the hundreds of hazardous toxic detergents that give you rashes, itching sores, and deteriorating clothing called lint. If you want something better, if you want something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before. Getting a free catalog is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com.
Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
I'm Cobra Commander, and I say don't listen to Alex Jones. What we need is a global government headed up by Cobra with a global Cobra currency brought to you by my friends at Goldman Sachs. So, Cobra!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is Tuesday, the 15th day of November, 2011, and yes, 2011 has gotten very long in the tooth and in the beard, and soon we will enter the vaunted 2012, accelerating towards late December, when supposedly the Earth will be destroyed. Of course, the Mayans also believe the Earth was the back of a alligator, and that we all lived on top of an alligator and the world was flat. So I believe that we're going to be here a year from now, a year and a half from now. But there is a slight chance and a growing chance the globalists will wreak incredible disasters and havoc on this population, on this globe, with the genetic engineering, with the nuclear weapons. The list goes on and on. Okay, here's what's coming up today. Mark Hinkle will be joining us. He is the head of the Libertarian Party here in the United States, and we'll talk about the Libertarian Party's plans to, well, try to push the idea of freedom versus collectivism and globalism and the whole New World Order system. And so he is the chairman of the Libertarian Party. He will be joining us today, and I'll bring up Ron Paul, Jesse Ventura, and other issues. And then Webster Tarpley, never one to act like a tough guy, but he certainly is one, especially mentally and historically. His IQ is up there quite a bit, up there in lights, as they would say. And no brag, just fact, he went to Libya during the bombardment, went through checkpoints out of Tunisia, was in areas that were strafed. He doesn't really talk about that on air, but he was under attack. Now he's run off to Syria to find out actually what's going over there. And he's going to be joining us coming up in the third hour today to look at all things geopolitical. So Mark Hinkle, head of the Libertarian Party, and Webster Griffin Tarpley, doctor of history, and, of course, he's also an economist. He will be joining us to talk about the Middle East, Israel, what the word is over there geopolitically. And then the second part of our interview, we'll get a bit into the world economy and the open announcement of a Bank of the World run by the mega banks. And in their own words, they admit it's dictatorial. But also, it was a 35-minute interview, so I won't air all of it. Coming up a little bit later, towards the end of this hour and into the second, ahead of Mr. Hinkle joining us, we are going to play part of an interview I did last night with Jim Rogers, of course, who's made tens of billions of dollars in the last 30, 40 years as a big hedge fund manager, as a stockbroker, you name it. He joined us for his maiden visit, but he said he'd love to come back in the future. And, of course, he's a big Ron Paul supporter, and he talked about the foregone conclusion of the complete and total collapse of the world economy, and that, yes, they'll attempt a world government, but that it's not going to work in his view. Wow, it's a powerful interview, and I will attempt to air most of it here today, which is really premiering it here on actual broadcast. It streamed out last night to all the Prisonplanet.tv viewers, and then all the other folks that then upload it to the four winds of the web, but we'll be playing the audio/video here. When I got him on, I said, well, how long do you have? Because we were taping the show last night. Some nights we're live, some nights we tape it. And we got him on at about, 6:20 Central. And he said, I'll do an hour and a half with you. And I said, well, unfortunately, we're going to go live then, and so we can't start the interview now and then do that. He says, well, I'll come back in 30 minutes. Really nice guy. And I said, you know what? Let's just do this now. And he goes, okay, good. Because the reason I have an hour and a half is I'm going to be on my exercise bike while we're doing the interview. And he must have had it turned way up on the resistance, because you can see him driving the pedals down and his face turning redder and redder as we do the interview. And the Skype was very, very clear audio and video, but a few times it broke up here and there. So we're going to air that coming up later in this hour and into the second hour today with Jim Rogers. And boy, does he know a lot. He was the guy who made George Soros a lot of his money. He was the, quote, partner with George Soros early on, who increased the wealth of the funds they managed by 4,600% in the same period that the S&P and other indexes went up less than 60%. So very, very interesting. And he basically broke down the crony capitalism, where somebody like himself over decades made billions of dollars. Now these big hedge fund managers can make personally $5-6 billion a year. And again, that's crony capitalism that is going on. Also, sometime today, well, before Hinkle even joins us, an hour and a half from now, an hour and 15 minutes from now, I've got to just briefly comment on the Jesse Ventura, David Icke controversy that's going on. And I read this last night, and I want to read it again because I had a highlighted copy or a marked copy at home on the points I wanted to make, and I forgot it. So I'm going to have to reread this during a break to make my points about these two men and hopefully stop them from getting into a war with each other that is only destructive for those of us that are investigating liberty and freedom. I think both men are good people. In fact, I know both men are good people, even though I may disagree with both of them on some issues. And it was a comedy of error that caused this, because I can read Ike's article and see how he thought he was seeing one thing and really it was another. Because, well, I'm going to have a message to David Icke especially coming up. Okay, so coming up later in the hour, because I could call David up on the phone and tell him this, but I think it's just better. I think it's just better to address Ventura and David Icke together at the same time on air, because they got into a big argument and there was a big fracas. And I can tell you that the Ventura camp did not intend this to happen, is not happy. They called me last night. And they've already interviewed Icke 2 seasons ago, and it was very positive. And I have been embroiled in the middle of this. I'm in this article, so I don't normally get into this stuff, but these two guys are, towers of alternative thought, and for whatever reason, they've garnered the attention. See, and so we can't have them fighting with each other. Just like I said some bad things about David Icke 12 years ago because I was asked about it. I said he was a turd in a punch bowl. And see, I'm already covering this now. I'm going to comment on it later. And the point is that was destructive. And so I apologize for it. David is welcome to his opinion, and he is a very intelligent person. And I mean, all these religions out there believe things wackier than what he does. And so that was wrong, because so much of what he does I know is documented, and he's very well spoken, very charismatic, and has woken a lot of people up. a lot of the fruits of David Icke are very, very positive. And I've talked to him, you know, a lot, and I think he's a good guy. Same thing with Ventura. And now these two are in a big fight with each other. So I'll comment at the bottom of the hour. It's pretty soon. I'll have time to read the article again because I had all these points I wanted to make. I wanted to address each area. And so in the next 2 breaks, I'll have time to read this. It's titled Jesse Ventura, Pet Detective. A must read. So I'm gonna reread over that and comment on it. And again, normally I don't get into infighting and stuff like that, but these guys are both really, you know, big icons in alternative thought, and it's just destructive to have them fighting. And then their supporters and admirers and people fighting with each other. So I'm gonna address it because it's educational on other fronts, and it's important to try to get these guys to make up and be friends, I think. Okay, wow, where do I start? Let me just do this. Mini, miny, mini, mo. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stacks here. Well, that's an unlucky number of stacks. You guys better bring me some more stacks in there so I have more than 13. Maybe I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Huh? 13 stacks. Well, I won't be, what do you call it? Superstitious. Hey, we already didn't get on air the first 5 minutes. The crew did a great job. They had some piece of equipment have a heart attack right as the show began and had to be power cycled. And so that took a few minutes. So I guess 13 is unlucky. Man, where do you start with all the craziness? Where do you begin? Where do I begin? Let's just start here. Chemotherapy could cause brain damage in breast cancer patients. Really? You mean ingesting a whole bunch of bug poison that they charge you $10,000 a month for or more? You mean that might be bad for your brain and the rest of your body? Really? The Daily Mail reports here. And then let's get into the pedophile culture here, since we're looking at Penn State. 4 going on 40, daycare owner, 72, convicted of sexually abusing toddler, says he did it because she was so promiscuous. And just look at that goblin-like creature. Here's another one. This is out of the Sun. Menendez, cop axed for boy sex claim. This is the guy that reportedly executed one of the witnesses to what was really going on the 7/7 London bombings, and he runs around bragging about having sex reportedly with 14-year-olds. We have the latest on Penn State, world news, the economy straight ahead.
HempUSA.org.
Okay, we're back live. If you go back to 7/7, there was a electrician named Charles de Mendez, who the police, for no reason, a day after the 7/7 bombings, ran up to him, jumped on top of him, and unloaded their clips into his head. And then they tried to cover it up and lie about it. And looking at the case with the police involved over the years, over and over again, the police, it turns out, are pedophiles, or reportedly are pedophiles. Now, either they're pedophiles or they're being set up. I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing that it's hard to come back from. It's one of the globalists' favorite systems to set you up. So I don't know. But a top cop has been sacked for claiming he had sex with a boy 14, the Sun can reveal. Chief Inspector John Duffy boasted about carrying out the vile act to a stranger he met on a gay dating website. And it just goes over that. Now, Sandusky has come out and gone on NBC News via telephone, and his lawyer has also made statements, and he's saying, yes, I horsed around and might have hugged people in the shower. Yes. 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, people, taking them into the shower to hug on them, and now they're saying this is what jocks do. Really, I'll assure you, no one was touching each other in the showers when I played football. Everyone kind of, even after years of playing football, kind of just went in, got their shower, grabbed their towel, and covered up.